Welcome back to the New Equity Network Show. I'm your host, Michael Yorba, and co-host Ed Baxter. In studio, we're talking with Phil Racusin, CEO and co-founder, EnergyFunders.com. It's a crowdfunding platform that focuses on capital formation for oil and gas projects, that is breaking all of the records for funding of the projects and has a completely different approach for the investor side to give you really a lot more transparency in these projects. All right, Phil, welcome back to the show.
Thanks a lot.
All right, my pleasure. Now, Ed, when we left off, we were talking to Phil about the feedback that he's getting from the investors as well as the operators. And Phil, if I can, what are some of the types of projects that are starting to come to you, and give us a feedback for what's happening with EnergyFunders.com?
Sure. So we are receiving a variety of projects, and we vet them from the beginning to see if they're something that what we want to work on. I'll give you an example of how we get access to projects that are hard to get access to otherwise. In traditional capital channels like with banks, private equity, and family offices, they can take many, many months to get around to the decision time when they actually decide to proceed or not. For instance, one project, came to us, and they had the operator had been working with a family office for over 6 months with absolutely no progress. And he said, I can't wait any longer. I want to get started. I have a valuable property here. So that would be an example of a type of project that would come to us. We also see a lot of recompletion and rework packages. We're seeing some projects where there's already existing production in the field, and there are other wells that could be drilled, infill drilling, and then you've also got some other wells on the property that could be recompleted or stimulated to increase production. So you've got, and I liken that to, buying a rent house in 2009 when the prices were depressed. It's cash flowing, and then allowing it to appreciate over time as well as receive the cash flow. So we like those types of deals. We also see deals that are, that are too large. They maybe have high capital requirements. We see others that, maybe just it isn't. We've rejected so many deals actually. We see some that they just aren't a very good deal, and we go back and we negotiate, and it just isn't something that that we want to present to our investors because it doesn't meet our philosophy. But we are receiving basically every type of project under the sun, and then we run it through our evaluation process.
Phil, you mentioned just a second ago, you talked about the evaluation process and the deals that you reject. Without necessarily giving away the secret sauce, kind of give us some examples of the deals that would not be suitable for your platform.
Sure. So when you think about this, for instance, a deal that needed $10 million or more to complete, and they didn't have other capital partners, that would be a little too large at this point. Because we're focused on small oil and the sweet spot of around 100,000 to $5 million, especially at 100 to $2 million. And another example is a project that just has a really high promote fee on it. Oil and gas operators will go to certain middlemen, and they'll go market the project around, and that's fine. But when they want to charge a huge promote fee that the investor would have to pay, and if we're not able to negotiate that out of the deal, that doesn't make sense because we can't offer the type of wholesale deal that we want to bring to the table. Another example might be a really risky project. Operator just acquired a lease. They want to drill their first well on it, a so-called wildcat well, to test the lease and its production. That's not something that we would do at this point because it's too risky. The rewards can be pretty great, just like the other projects that we decide to do, but it's a very high level of risk. So we like to look at projects where we can verify that there's production around it, there's production on the lease, or there has been in the past, and the steps taken to complete the wells or stimulate them are logical and make sense in light of the particular geology and the production history.
Okay.
Would you also argue that your main role as a quasi institution with regard to oil and gas investments, would you say that you take a more efficient role toward bringing more money to the wellhead in lieu of the promote part?
That's why it's one reason why we formed this company is to be a direct channel rather than have to work with all kinds of different intermediaries. So the operator in the end will probably get a better deal, and the investor will certainly get a better deal. So all those dollars are going into the project rather than to a lot of people in between. And obviously then that the capital raise can be more efficient, and each dollar can actually go to work rather than going to promote in between.
Now, you also have a blog, and you've created an ebook. Let's talk about that.
Sure. So we have a blog with a lot of good content that we've written over the course of 2 years, and we offer an ebook for free. All you have to do is sign up. Just go to EnergyFunders.com, click on the blog, or EnergyFunders.com / or actually just search, just type it into any search engine, Energy Funders blog. You'll get a free ebook. It tells you, it's for both novice and seasoned investors. It tells you how to invest directly in oil and gas investments, especially under the new crowdfunding model, and it gives you a good idea of the advantages that you can reap from something like this.
All right. Are you starting to get referrals from the people that are coming to you, whether they're operators or they're investors?
Yes, we hear it all the time. We're constantly talking to operators and investors, and always hear, well, my buddy told me about this. I went on your website. I think it's fantastic, and I want to be involved. And we'll hear that on both the operator side and the investor side.
Okay. Now, what about outsourced investor relations department? I want to hear more about that.
So operators are not in the business of raising capital. It's absolutely crucial to what they do that they have the capital necessary to put into their projects and to develop their leases or increase the value of their assets. But they are not, their core competency is usually not managing investor relations. It's not going out and raising capital, keeping investors apprised of what's happening with their money, the status of the project, the financial results. So we have set up our platform from the ground up to automate a variety of traditionally laborious tasks. And along with that, we communicate regularly with the investors. Each investor has a personalized dashboard that lets them see what they've invested in, what their returns are, what their payment is going to be, keeps them apprised of all kinds of things that they may want to see with their investment. We've set it from the ground up to ensure that investors are apprised of information and make it efficient. That way the investor doesn't contact the operator directly, they contact us. And we're able to efficiently distribute information to the investor group as a whole, and the operator doesn't have to take time away from the oil field to interact with each individual investor.
Wow, that's interesting. All right, this is the second time you've been on the show, so for those that are just tuning in, give us some milestones that you've achieved up till now, some of the great accomplishments you've made, and then take us into the future. We've got, I think we've got about 3 or 4 minutes, so actually 2 minutes left before we go out on the segment.
Sure. So just briefly, we founded this company a couple of years ago. We started operating the platform in late summer 2014, and we've been ramping up since then. And we've funded several projects now. Most recently, we funded one in just 7 hours. We're working on bringing another great one to the table. We have a huge amount. We've established now a huge amount of deal flow coming in from the operator side. It's high quality. On the investor side, we have well over 1,100 investors now, and it keeps growing at a rapid rate. I feel like the other day I was speaking to a certain reporter, and I told her that we had certain number of investors that I thought was good, and then that has been far eclipsed since then. We have hundreds of operators on the site as well. And the future is that we'll do more and larger projects as we become more efficient, as we continually develop our software. We will be bringing more and more good deals to the table for investors.
Great. Phil, can't wait to hear more about it. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
My pleasure.
Happy to be here.
All right. We'll be back with Phil Racusin, CEO, co-founder, EnergyFunders.com. He'll be back next week. And on the other side of this break, we'll be right back with Michael Hanbury, consultant in the oil and gas industry with BTJ Consulting.